Hey there folks and modelers. So today I'm back for another update on the Italian Horizon class destroyer at 1/350 scale from Takom. So in my last video update on this ship, I had all the hull and deck glued up, but there were a lot of gaps. So I have cleaned up all these gaps, the seam lines. Basically, I used some stretch sprues and putty. Then I sanded it down, and so I think now it looks much better. Of course, you can see a little bit of some waviness on these surface, but that's that's how the real ship would look like anyway. Because I don't really believe in like cleaning it up to like a mirror surface like cars. So the surface of the ship, especially the hull structures, are very rough. So I think this should do it. And let's look at these. I'm gonna zoom up a bit. So there was a pretty big gap lines along this stern deck and the hull. So I got that cleaned up. Maybe still a little bit here, but I think this should do it. So there was these two things in front which I had to shave off because I had to sand this surface. Then I added back some square beams over there, and then yeah, all these edges, the corners had to be sanded a little bit. And over here, these areas I did putty up a little bit, but I just wiped it off. No way of sanding this kind of areas. And then this center deck here, I think this is it's good enough. It's not really flat. There are some little bit of it's a bit rounded, but can't get it to go flat because the deck's a little bit higher than the hull. So I think all these edges cleaned up, and these edges here too. Okay, so after all these things were done, I started working on a lot of the structures of this ship. So basically, for this kit, you can actually skip all the smaller things and start working on all these big structures like these, which I started to, I just went into all these bigger structures because eventually all these bigger structures have to be test fitted, and even all these smaller ones. So I got all these structures done, and these were nice to build. In fact, these are all separate pieces, so I think the fit was quite nice, but it did require some sanding on the edges, like here. But I think you can get away without doing putty work. Basically, just glue all these 4 pieces up. There will be seam lines, but can be just sanded off a bit. So for these structure here, the mast, there were quite big gaps, especially for these things here, these ones, and this piece over here. There were quite a lot because these are, you know, covering both edges. I think there's still a little bit down here, but I think this will not be seen. So the rest, like these bigger decks here, fitted very nicely. I did not do any cleaning. So these things are all done. This one had to sand down a little bit on the partition, the seam lines over here. So I got all these things completed. Then I started working on this deck here. So I have not cleaned this, and I'm gonna show you that it does produce gaps. You know, this being a side hull, it was really difficult to push it all the way in, and I have to be holding this with my hand for the super glue to dry, because you know, these are curved surface. It's really gonna be difficult to clamp it. So basically all edges does have yeah, this kind of gaps, which I will have to putty and clean off the edges. So same goes around here, and there will be touch-ups that has to be done after I do all these edges. But for this center piece and this side piece here, it did fit quite nicely, and basically I did not glue it yet, so I can still push it in. But this kit has tabs on all these pieces, which I don't really like these tabs because it will create some kind of a gap if we look at this piece here, which goes in here. So no matter how much you push it, these gaps will be visible, and then here, since there's the tab there, it's filled up. So this one might require some putty to fill in, but I won't be sanding these kind of areas. I'll just putty and then wipe it off. And this piece is gonna create a problem also. Basically I already tried, you know, dry fitting it, so there will be, you know, really big gaps here, and both these pieces have to go together, and I will probably have to hold it, you know, push it in like that until the super glue dries. So having, you know, two side pieces of hull, it's always gonna create this kind of issues where it's not really gonna be a good fit for these decks, and it's really difficult to push, you know, the decks like that to close up the gaps, and you have to wait until the glue actually dries up. So there will be, I'm assuming there will be gaps I will have to clean up. So I think after this I will stick this piece in. And just for note, there is one piece of part. So this is the bulkhead of the hanger bay. So instead of sticking it here, I stick it to this piece because there is a groove given, and in fact when you attach it, it will not be sitting exactly on here. Well, that's because, you know, this deck is, you know, it has to be aligned to the side of the hull here. So it's better to glue this piece on the deck because it will run around, it will move around like that. So if you have this piece attached to the walls here, it's gonna be tough because it might not fit into this groove here. Well, that's what I think. So basically this ship has a lot of these kind of gaps that has to be cleaned up. So let me just try. Oh yeah, and for this part here, for the cabin, there is a slight problem with it. So when you put these two pieces there with this deck, basically this mast does not fit. So what happens is, I'm not sure, maybe these walls have been pushed in too much. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to put this mast first, then put in these pieces here. But when I do this, this piece will have quite a big gap like that, so it will produce a big gap over there. So I think, yeah, probably it has something to do with these two side hulls, you know. So, but before I attach things on top, I will need to finish up the bottom and probably paint the bottom of the hull first. So once the bottom is ready, I'll start working my way to the top. So so that's what I'm gonna be doing for this. And just to show you, these pots go over here. So this one has a pretty good fit. So I don't think this, you know, this surface needs to be cleaned up. Just make sure the glue doesn't smear so much. And this little piece is gonna go there. And this one goes here. This one goes here. So this is how, you know, the ship's gonna look like. But there's still a long way to go. Still need to do a lot of cleaning. Then once all these big parts, the bottom is completed, we'll start working on all the smaller things like the, you know, the turrets, the weapons, and even things on the, you know, smaller things. So yeah, that's how this sequence is gonna be. And yeah, some parts here. So basically all the big parts have been cut out, completed, and the rest remaining is all the small parts. So I'm gonna work on this a little bit more. And just to inform you, I have received the Gerald R. Ford from Magic Factory a couple of days ago. So after this video, I'm gonna do another video on that. It's gonna be a kit review, but you know, more maybe more of my perspective, my opinions on the kit. I wouldn't do a full review because there has been too many Gerard Alford Magic Factory kit reviews on YouTube. So I think it's gonna be boring if I start talking about those things. So I hope you like this video, this update. So just stay tuned. I will post another video not too long after this. So as usual, happy modeling and cheers for now. Goodbye.